Hello and welcome to another episode of the Revisited series, Season 2. In this episode we will be revisiting bees. There are approximately 25,000 named species of bee in the world. It's possible that there's 40,000 species existing in total. Amongst the social bees, the genus Apis are true honeybees. Within this genus there's only 9 species, and in total 40 subspecies found across these 9 species, alongside the many races of cultivated and wild honeybees, specifically Apis mellitus. These 9 species are closely related, having their anatomy and behavior acting almost identical in nature. However, no member of one species can interbreed with a member of another. Most of these species have been historically used for honey or beeswax in terms of cultivation. Only 2 species in total of Apis species have been domesticated, Apis mellifera and Apis cereraria. Apis mellifera is a common honeybee we know and love today, and has been domesticated since at least ancient Egypt. It has been moved extensively beyond its native range since that time period. The many centuries of cultivation by people have created honeybees that produce far more honey than the colony requires. In the genus Apis, there are 5 recognized species with medium-sized worker, 2 dwarf species, and 2 giant species. The smallest species is a black dwarf honeybee, whose native habitat is the tropical and subtropical regions of Asia. It was only recently discovered that it was a separate species from Apis florea, which was funny because both species live together and commingle with each other as nestmates despite being different species. This species can be found in India, Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, India, and the Philippines. Based on current genetic evidence, it is the most primitive form of bee we know of the Apis genus, most closely resembling what is expected to be the common ancestor of all the 9 species. This species is more dangerous than Apis florea, and is known to attack when there's disturbances 3 to 4 meters away from the nest. The second small undomesticated honeybee of southern Southeastern Asian origin is Apis florea. Apis florea has a generally larger range than its sister species. Apis cerina is the Asiatic honeybee or Eastern honeybee. These are small honeybees of southern and southeastern Asian origin. It is found commonly in China, India, Japan, Malaysia, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Papua New Guinea, and has multiple subspecies. The beekeepers of this region keep eastern honeybee in hives called Newton hives, which are smaller than those used for western honeybee. These bees prefer to nest in small spaces such as hollowed-out tree trunks, and naturally produce smaller hives because they're more mobile than the common honeybee. If there isn't sufficient food for their liking, then the Apis cereriana species will abandon their current nest and move shop to a new location to build a new nest from scratch. When away from the nest, they're more likely to run than most other Apis species. However, they will defend their nest in much the same way most other bee species would. Within the Asian region, Apis cerenia is commonly utilized a little bit more than Apis mellifera due to a far more careful nature when it comes to social grooming. This keeps varroa mites under control within the hive. The workers also groom each other to make sure that they're mite-free as well, making them well suited to assist them with limited miticides. The next species on our hit list is Apis nigroxyntia. This is a species of honeybee that is native to the Philippine island of Mindanao, alongside the Indonesian islands of Senghi and Swali. I'm definitely butchering these terms. It is closely related to Apis cerenia. Indeed, there's few physical differences between these 2 species, although they differ by physical size, with Apis nigroxyntia being far larger than Apis cerenia. And Apis nigroxyntia also generally create colonies with a greater number of drones than those of Apis cerenia. There's also moderately different shapes of the nesting sites, and the faces of Apis nigroxyntia have a yellowish lower part of their face, and is more susceptible to the parasite Varroa underwoodii. The next species on our hit list is the Asiatic honeybee species Apis newlensis. It's currently categorized as a subspecies of regular honeybee found in Southeast Asia, specifically the island of Borneo. Current DNA evidence suggests that it may be divergent enough to be its own species, genetically speaking, but no hybridization studies have been done to confirm this hypothesis. The next bee on our hit list is Apis kochevitzi. This species lives in the same nest as several other species, such as Apis dulensis and others. There seems to be a species of rheomite that specializes to this species. The last species we'll cover is the common honeybee, Apis mellifera, and this species found everywhere. There are 24 populations of honeybee that are genetically distinct and differ between each other via physical, behavioral, and body color changes. The race of bees called Apis mellifera capensis is found in the Cape of Africa and is tolerant of rheomites and buckfast bees, for instance. Although these 24 subspecies of bee are all part of the same species and as such can crossbreed each other very easily. The Carolinian subspecies of honeybee has broad gray bands on its abdomen and is found naturally in the southeastern Alps. It's extremely cold-hardy but swarms extensively. The Caucasian bee, found in the Caucasus region, is also known as a red clover bee because it feeds on a lot of nectar from red clover. It has the longest tongue amongst the subspecies of bee, as it feeds commonly on clover. The European dark bee is known to overwinter well in severe climates. 11 of the 24 subspecies of Apis mellifera are of African origin. The best known subspecies is Apis mellifera scalata. The killer bee, as it was termed, was made by crossbreeding this subspecies with a common European subspecies. The subspecies capensis occurs in a restricted area of the Cape of Good Hope. In this subspecies, when the queen gets killed prematurely, can lay their own eggs, which generate an exact replica of the original queen, reviving the nest. This happens to a lesser extent in other subspecies of bees. The buckfast bee was a bee bred in Buckfast, Abbey in Devon by Brother Adam. It was made by mixing multiple subspecies together. Likewise, killer bees were crossbreeds between the Scalata subspecies and European subspecies bred by Dr. Warwick Kerr. Although in recent years, Africanized honeybees or killer bees have become popular in Central America as a bee breed. The Africanized breed has more guard bees per hive than most other bees and can swarm and move farther than most other bee breeds. That concludes all the small bees. Now on to the two large species of bee. The two species of giant honeybee are Apis dorsata and Apis laboriosa. You'll start with the former. The giant honeybee, or Apis dorsata, is native to southern and southeastern Asia and is found mainly in the forests of Terai of Nepal. Their hives are usually built in tree limbs that overhang, and sometimes on buildings. It has never been domesticated due to its aggressive nature and inability to form hives in enclosures. Before going for stinging, these bees will wave their arms at you as an indicator that you should not be there. Enough of these bees, including the workers, do this as well to make an audible ripple sound. The next species is Apis laboriosa, which was once thought to be a subspecies of Apis dorsata, but now we know it's a well-defined species, due to its inability to crossbreed with Apis dorsata. This species is far more aggressive than its close relative, but despite this, they have been historically used to make honey and wax by the indigenous people of that region. This species also has a wider range than Apis dorsata, living in Nepal, India, and Yunnan, which is a province in China. And that about covers everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to me on BitChute for a greater variety of content, 4 videos a week. And thank you to all my subscribers on both platforms. I appreciate it.